Picture this, the late 1920s, a time of flapper dresses, jazz music filling the airwaves, and a sense of optimism sweeping across the nation. The San Gabriel Valley, bathed in the California sun, was a sprawling expanse of citrus groves. Row upon row of orange and lemon trees stretched as far as the eye could see, their fragrant blossoms perfuming the air. Quaint small towns dotted the landscape, each a vibrant hub of community life. It was a picture of the American dream, a place where hard work and honest living promised a bright future. Wineville, California was one such town, a seemingly idyllic place nestled amidst the orchards. It was a community that felt quiet, trusting, and seemingly safe. Neighbors knew each other, children played freely, and a sense of security permeated daily life. Children played in open fields, their laughter echoing through the valley, a testament to the carefree spirit of the age. Doors were often left unlocked, a symbol of the trust and openness that defined the community, and neighbors looked out for each other, creating a tight-knit social fabric where everyone felt a sense of belonging. But beneath this peaceful surface, a darkness stirred, a subtle shift in the atmosphere that few could detect. Something sinister was slowly taking root, like a weed growing in the shadows, its tendrils reaching out to poison the land. On a remote ranch, far from the prying eyes of the town, a young man and his family quietly settled in. They began building what looked like an ordinary farm, complete with barns, livestock, and fields ready for planting. The property was deliberately isolated, carefully hidden from the main roads and the casual observer. It was the perfect location for keeping secrets, a place where the truth could be buried deep. No one suspected the darkness that would soon emerge from this unremarkable place, the horrors that would unfold behind its closed gates. The ranch would soon become the center of a case that would shock the nation, a story so disturbing it would be whispered for generations. It shattered the town's innocence, leaving an indelible stain on the community's collective memory. Wineville's name would be forever linked, not to its peaceful orchards and friendly neighbors, but to a chilling chapter in American crime, a dark stain on the pages of history. The valley was about to lose its innocence, its idyllic facade crumbling to reveal the darkness that lurked beneath. It serves as a stark reminder that darkness can fester even under the brightest sun, and that evil can hide in the most unsuspecting places. At the heart of this chilling story, a story that would grip the nation and leave an indelible mark on the history of true crime, was Gordon Stewart Northcott. A name that would become synonymous with unspeakable acts. He was a young Canadian, full of youthful energy, who arrived in the quiet, unsuspecting town of Wineville, California with his parents. They sought a new life, a fresh start in the Golden State, unaware of the darkness that would soon envelop their family. Outwardly, he presented himself as just a quiet, unassuming poultry farmer, diligently working to build a life for himself on 20 acres of land. He seemed like any other young man trying to make an honest living in rural America. But beneath the surface of this seemingly ordinary existence, Northcott's world was ruled by secrecy and an insatiable need for control. He carefully constructed a reality where he held all the power, manipulating those around him to fulfill his twisted desires. This need for control was deeply rooted, shaped by a disturbing and complex relationship with his domineering mother Sarah. Her influence cast a long shadow over his life, fueling his insecurities and contributing to his warped perception of the world. He began to take in vulnerable young boys, often runaways or orphans, under the guise of offering them work, a place to stay, and a semblance of family. These were children in desperate need of guidance and protection, unknowingly walking into a nightmare. The ranch's remote location and inherent isolation allowed him to operate without scrutiny from the outside world. The vast expanse of land provided a shield, concealing the horrors that were unfolding within its boundaries. He was creating a world governed solely by his own dark impulses, a place where morality had no meaning, and the innocent suffered in silence. The ranch became a stage for his twisted fantasies, a theater of cruelty hidden from view. Northcott possessed a certain charm, a deceptive charisma that he used to manipulate and disarm those around him, masking his true predatory nature. He was a wolf in sheep's clothing, preying on the unsuspecting. He exploited the inherent trust within the small, close-knit community, using their goodwill and naivete to his advantage. They never suspected the darkness that lurked beneath his charming facade. He meticulously maintained a facade of normalcy, carefully crafting an image of a hard-working rancher, hiding his true intentions and the unspeakable acts he was committing behind closed doors. The boys he brought in, often desperate and alone, were easy prey for his manipulative tactics and sinister desires. They were vulnerable, trusting, and completely unaware of the danger they were in. The sprawling ranch with its hidden corners and isolated buildings became his personal hunting ground, a place where he could indulge his darkest fantasies without fear of discovery. Beneath the surface of the everyday ranch work, the construction of fences and chicken coops, he was building something far more sinister. He was meticulously building a nightmare, a living hell for the innocent boys trapped within his web of deceit and control. The man on the ranch, the seemingly ordinary Gordon Stewart Northcott, was, in reality, a predator hiding in plain sight, a monster lurking beneath a carefully constructed facade of normalcy. The Wineville Chicken Coop murders would become infamous across the nation. Investigators discovered that Northcott had victimized numerous boys between 1926 and 1928. The chicken coop, a simple wooden structure, was the scene of unspeakable acts and the burial site for his victims. Officially, Northcott was convicted of 3 murders, but the true number may have been far higher. The use of quicklime and time made identification nearly impossible, leaving families without answers. The case broke open when Northcott's nephew, Sanford Clark, escaped and revealed the horrors he'd witnessed. Sanford's testimony led authorities to the grim evidence, shocking the nation and forever staining Wineville's name. In 1930, desperate to escape the association, the town changed its name to Mira Loma. The early 20th century was marked by rapid change and, unfortunately, its share of profound tragedies. Among these heartbreaking stories was that of Christine Collins, a single mother living in Los Angeles. Her life took a devastating turn when her 9-year-old son, Walter, vanished without a trace in 1928. It was a disappearance that would ignite a city, challenge a police department, and forever alter the course of Christine's life. Christine's relentless search for her beloved son immediately captured public sympathy. The newspapers chronicled her every move, and the city rallied behind her, desperate for Walter's safe return. This intense public scrutiny put immense pressure on the LAPD, who were struggling to solve the case amidst growing criticism of their handling of missing persons. The pressure to find Walter was mounting. Months later, in a move that seemed too good to be true, the police claimed to have found Walter, presenting a boy to Christine as her missing son. The city rejoiced, believing the nightmare was finally over. However, Christine knew immediately that the boy they presented was not her son Walter. Despite the fanfare and the police's insistence, she stood firm in her conviction. Despite her desperate pleas, her unwavering protests, and the clear evidence that this was not her child, officials dismissed her concerns, choosing to believe their own narrative. In a shocking turn of events, they went so far as to commit her to a psychiatric ward, attempting to silence her and discredit her claims. Her crime, in their eyes, was refusing to accept the imposter and challenging the authority of the LAPD. She was deemed delusional and unfit. The truth, however, has a way of surfacing. It eventually emerged when the boy himself confessed to his deception. He revealed that he was a runaway from Iowa, and his real name was not Walter Collins. He had simply taken the opportunity to impersonate the missing boy. Christine was finally released from the psychiatric ward, her sanity vindicated. But her ordeal, and the mystery of what happened to Walter, was far from over. As the horrifying details of the Wineville Chicken Coop murders, also known as the Northcott case, unfolded, chilling evidence suggested that Walter was among the victims of the serial killer, Gordon Stewart Northcott. Despite extensive searches of the ranch where Northcott committed his crimes, Walter's body was never found, leaving a lingering question mark over his fate. Despite the lack of definitive closure, Christine never stopped searching for her son, clinging to the hope that he might still be alive somewhere. Her unwavering dedication and resilience transformed her into a symbol of a mother's boundless love and the lengths to which a parent will go for their child. She also became a symbol of a citizen's courageous fight against corruption and abuse of power, standing up against a system that tried to silence her. Her story exposed the deep-seated failings of the Los Angeles Police Department and the lengths they would go to protect their image, even at the expense of justice. It highlighted the devastating cost of institutional arrogance and the importance of holding those in power accountable for their actions. Christine Collins's fight for justice and the truth would echo for years to come, inspiring others to challenge injustice and demand accountability. Her legacy remains a powerful testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit and the unwavering power of perseverance in the face of unimaginable adversity. Christine Collins's ordeal inspired the 2008 film, directed by Clint Eastwood and starring Angelina Jolie. The film brought her story to a global audience, focusing on her battle against a corrupt police force. The title refers to the myth of a child swapped for an imposter, a perfect metaphor for Christine's experience. The movie highlighted themes of institutional abuse, resilience, and the high cost of seeking truth. Captain J.J. Jones became the face of police arrogance, willing to destroy a woman's life to protect his department. Jolie's performance earned critical acclaim, turning Christine from a historical footnote into a symbol of courage. The film ensured her legacy would not be forgotten, reframed the Wineville story as one of personal heroism, not just horror. It stands as a tribute to Christine's fight and a warning about the dangers of unchecked power. Northcott's downfall began with his own family specifically, his nephew Sanford Clark. Brought from Canada, Sanford was held captive and forced into silence by fear and abuse. His sister Jessie, alarmed by his absence, traveled to the ranch and sensed something was terribly wrong. Returning to Canada, she alerted authorities, setting the investigation in motion. When police arrived, Northcott fled with his mother, but Sanford was finally free to tell the truth. His testimony led investigators to the graves and exposed Northcott's crimes. Northcott's mother, Sarah, played a complex role, first helping her son escape, then turning on him to save herself. She confessed to her part in the murders, implicating Gordon and sealing his fate. The family's betrayals and confessions brought the horrors of the ranch to light. It was a tragic end to a twisted family dynamic that enabled so much suffering. Northcott's trial in 1929 was a media sensation, but the evidence was mostly circumstantial. The use of quicklime made forensic identification nearly impossible. The prosecution relied on powerful testimony from Sanford Clark and Northcott's mother, Sarah. Sanford's detailed account painted Northcott as manipulative and cruel. Sarah's confession corroborated Sanford's story and added to the damning evidence. Northcott's erratic behavior in court, acting as his own lawyer, making bizarre statements, only hurt his case. The jury saw through his theatrics, convinced by the weight of testimony. Northcott was found guilty of murdering 3 boys, including the Winslow brothers and an unidentified child. The verdict brought relief to a horrified public. Justice was served, even if many questions remained unanswered. Sentenced to death, Northcott was sent to San Quentin State Prison. He continued to manipulate the media, confessing and recanting, keeping the public fascinated until the end. His execution on October 2, 1930, drew crowds and intense press coverage. The defiant man from the trial was gone, replaced by someone terrified and broken. As the sentence was carried out, many felt a sense of justice, though closure remained elusive. The true number of victims was never known. Families of missing boys were left with unanswered questions. Northcott's death ended his reign of terror, but the scars he left behind persisted. The saga that began on a quiet ranch closed with his execution. Yet, the sorrow and mystery lingered for decades. The Northcott case left a permanent mark on Southern California. Wineville became Mira Loma, desperate to shed its dark legacy. The ranch was dismantled, but the story became local legend, a reminder of evil lurking beneath the surface. The case shattered illusions of small-town safety and changed the way Americans viewed crime. Christine Collins's struggle exposed police corruption and inspired calls for reform. The victims were not just those who died, but also those left to seek justice. Today, the Wineville Chicken Coop murders are remembered as a chilling true crime story and a warning about the dangers of unchecked authority. The legacy endures, a grim reminder that darkness can hide in the most unexpected places.